Check this out, y'all. This is a video that the Bloodstained Men did, and there's like, I think like 1,000 comments on here right now, or something like that. It's a huge number of comments, and it's just fascinating to go through here and see the cultural indoctrination in these just people that just overtly just accept and trivialize and then shame and attack people that are exposing this horrific, evil form of child abuse. I mean, you're literally ripping apart screaming children's genitals, damaging their brain development, damaging their sexuality for life, for what amounts to trivial, dumbass excuses that shouldn't fool a fifth grade biology student, let alone medical doctors with advanced degrees. I mean, the claims are just utterly stupid. Like UTIs, HIV, STDs, they're all nonsense. They're all lies. They're all 100% backwards. Circumcision increases every single one of those, except for maybe cancer. And Japan and Scandinavia have higher penile cancer rates than we do because they're better at hygiene. So guess what? Yeah, all of the excuses are total bullshit. And everybody knows this. Like, nobody's this dumb that they would think like a UTI, which is easily treatable, rare, and has really no ill effects in 99.999% of the cases. So to claim that this is some big, huge issue that we need to mutilate, huge numbers of male babies for, or give the parents this option to do this to their children, it is just absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Everybody knows it. Like, nobody is this dumb, right? Like, if you have intelligence enough to turn on your phone and press button and hear what I'm saying to you, you have all the IQ you need to know to completely and utterly debunk this on any rational level of common sense whatsoever. So the idea that this people just gravitate towards defending this, it's just an overt throw up puke of their just disgusting denial and insecurities and brainwashing and just all of the indoctrination that has gone into creating this mess of people that are sicko, incestuous child abusers. And I don't know any other way to describe it because the medical excuses are so dumb. The hygiene excuses, the body shaming, they're all so dumb. I mean, you just read through this, you're going to see how ridiculous these people are. And they have no justification. They have no way of coming back. They have nothing they can say to refute the intactivist arguments. I mean, we are the most highly educated people on the planet about this, and none of these people know anything about it. Yet they come with this pompous attitude that they think they know everything. And then when you call them out on their bullshit, it's just this cognitive dissonance that refuses common sense information. They want this so bad, and I would question anybody to justify, and I know I'm rambling here, but I'm getting to a point here, why these people would fret so much, so extensively. If this was just a medical procedure that was supposed to help their child and people found out that it wasn't helpful, nobody's going to freak out and into rages and say the dumbest sex shaming thing and trivialize it. They would never do that. So this is a complete brainwashing in this one area of everybody's brain, and it's so ubiquitous and it's throughout this entire country. It is absolutely disgusting. And this is the end of this cultural indoctrination that we've suffered for so long. I'm going to read to you these comments. So I want people in the future to look back on these videos and be outraged and incensed and disgusted that human beings, our fellow human beings, are this dumb, this psychotic, this twisted, this sick in the head. I mean, I call these people toad-brained. Like, this is just squirming toad brains, like the Doors said. So anyways, let's go through this. Only Monsters Defense. Oh, let me go from here to all comments because I want you to read everything. So Jessica Adams says, Only Monsters Defense such butchery. 27 likes. You got these laughs. Look at these people. 9 people laughing. Look at all these people laughing about butchering children's genitals. Like, they think it's funny. Like, that's outrageous. Out of the 27 people, 9 of them are laughing at a person talking about monsters defending butchery of children. And so this is by John Smith, Wretched Psychos. And this is a child suffering, extreme pain and suffering. And this shows how this child is suffering, which like PTSD from World War I, and we're doing this to our children. This literally damages their brain development. This happens at the critical period of their brain development. I bet you're fine with abortion. See, this is the red herring, the abortion red herring. It's such a weak excuse. The abortion red herring. Oh, look at John. You're awesome, John. Pro-choice. There's a little art thing there you can read through there. What are you? What are you, a sicko? No one is okay with abortion. However, it's healthcare. It's rather apart from this discussion, nor your concern. Living creatures that have taken up their full gulp of air, filled their lungs to make their first cry. Who are we? Who we are discussing? No healthy body parts or any living, breathing creature should ever be altered or removed without their consent. A baby cannot consent. I'm sorry you were butchered. You can help end the cycle of unnecessary violence. What an amazing comment there, Jessica Adams. Thank you so much. Way to be anti-Semitic. That's just that's a deflection. You know, we're talking about cutting babies' genitals, and then you're saying that we're shaming a religion. I don't care about somebody's religion. I don't care what imaginary friend's God you have. I don't care if you actually believe in the real God and whatever. There's no God on this planet or on this in the known universe in existence that would want you to abuse children. I mean, the claim that this is what they want you to do is just nonsense. It's absolutely. I just keep changing. Sorry, it's absolutely nonsense. But anyways. These are newest. I'm sorry. Let's go to all comments. Sorry. Anyways, they voted for Trump. I bet they voted for Trump. I mean, Elon. I mean, what does this have to do with politics? They voted for Trump. Okay, maybe these people are like, you're conservative, so I don't know. How would that have anything to do? In fact, most of the conservatives want to do this. And the liberals want to do this. This is just true because they'll say, "Oh no, we're defending Trump and Elon," or "No, now we're against, or we must be Trump voters." You know, it's just nonsense. LOL. Weird that people care. This one, Mike Grotsky, is really suffering really bad because you should see the things that this guy says. Weird that people care. Like, why would people not care? Like, don't people? I mean, do you care that about Epstein victim? Do you care about that? Do you care about P. Diddy's victims? I mean, everybody cares about child abuse. And if you don't, you're a psycho. And you need your head examined. And you need to be removed from society so that you don't hurt children. You know, P. Diddy had no ethics. Neither did Epstein for his... They abuse with impunity. And these people are the same. And yeah, everybody cares. Any person worth their salt, worth their carbon, cares about extreme sexual violence against children. It's absolute nonsense. Wait till you care, then you have kids. I'm not going to read all of these, but weird that grown men who went through puberty lust after sexually assaulting and crippling infants and love their motherly sexual abuse and crippled, dulled out, smaller penises. If your parents' decisions are motivated by your sexual preferences, you probably shouldn't be allowed near children. I mean, that goes without saying. It's beyond weird that people mutilate babies. It's disgusting. You can see there's activists that are just destroying these arguments. I mean, look at this stuff. It's hygienic. I mean, do you realize how utterly stupid such a claim is, that it's hygienic? I mean, a shower with some water fixes this. And if you cut off 3 of your fingers, you still have to clean the rest of your hand. You don't have to not clean your hand the rest of your life because you cut off 3 of your fingers. And if your hand's dirty and you cut off 3 of your fingers, the rest of your hand is still dirty. You just still have to clean the rest of it. You have less to clean, but now you don't have the function of your hand. We're talking about the most pleasurable sexual functioning body part in the human body. So this is just pure cope. Literally none said you have to do it. Nobody said you have to do it. The fact that you have an option to do it, that you are doing this to children, is what we are outraged about. But anybody with any sense of compassion, ethics, protective instincts, I'm a protector. I will smash you if you hurt somebody in front of me, someone that's less powerful than me. I will fight you to the death to protect mine. Okay, and that's why I'm an intactivist, because I care about all children. I don't just care about the immediate children in my family. I care about all children. I care about your child. I care that your child isn't abused by you. That's what laws are made for, because that child deserves the right. And who is fighting for him? Who is fighting for that child? He doesn't want this. You think children want to be strapped down and have their genitals ripped apart is the most excruciating pain known to man? This is like straight out of a CIA torture book. This makes waterboarding look like a summer camp. Are you kidding me? The fake outrage of people. This is your flavor of the week, so spare us. I mean, Just the ridiculousness of these comments. Flavor of the week. You've been mutilating children's genitals since 1870s. All the people before that weren't mutilated. They had normal bodies. And they had no showers at the time. They didn't have running water in most of the places in the 1870s and earlier. But yet they were fine. And they showered maybe once a month. They didn't have this freak out American culture with hygiene. Like, oh my God, we got to shower every 20 minutes. I went to the gym, I got a shower. I woke up, I got a shower. I mean, it's just crazy. Like your body can go a pretty long time without showering, or else we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be living creatures on the planet if we were not able to survive without this technological showers that we developed over the last 100 years. I mean, come on, people. Like, where's our entire human prehistory? It's just nonsense. And people like this is just like this Matt Groski guy is just pure cope. Like this is his deflection, his inability to accept. And Matt, I'm sorry how much you suffered, because it must have been bad, because you are on here fighting tooth and nail to protect your right to abuse children, to perpetuate the damage, to do what was done to you to little children. And for you to claim that this is trivial or irrational, that we protect children from your violent sexual assault with a knife, is absolutely ridiculous. Let's just be honest. It's ridiculous. I don't need to have to say anything to people with normal sense, anything more about it at least. It makes common sense to care that one of the most common surgeries in America fails to meet the standard of preventative care, yet is forced on the majority of infant boys, violating their autonomy and mutilating them. What a just common sense statement there. Like, that's just, how are you going to deflect what Carl said there? You just can't. Yeah, dude, they're not just a bunch of ignorant fucks like you who carelessly go chopping dicks because they're too fucking stupid to realize this shit's only a practice perpetuated by entrepreneurs, dimwit. Yeah, Dylan Lee Bradford. I mean, just, it's the intactivists are killing these people. What is cruel and harmful? Listen, Bubby, what does it do for you, Bubby? Shh. Sorry, our dogs are playing around in the background. What is cruel and harmful is leaving their boy intact. The psychological damage caused by their peers is unfixable. So what this guy is saying is, attack children's genitals with knives so he isn't made fun of by bullies whose parents psychologically damage them with the knife, creating this behavioral, craziness that turns them into bullies, violent bullies. And like, their damaged children turn into violent bullies. This is basically a result of early childhood trauma. So traumatize your child so he becomes the bully? What? Like, doesn't this make any sense? Like, this is the most cowardly beta male thing I've ever heard that out of humanity. And this is perpetuated over and over and over and over again. And you can see it in these comments. Just comment after comment after comment after idiot after idiot after idiot. Now, if I go down these rabbit holes, you'll see intactivists just destroying these people. I'm not going to go through every single one of them. This has like 1,000 comments on it. But I just want you to see, we're going to go through the top comments so you can see just the stupidity of these people and what they're really saying. Okay, so let's move on here. Oh, some of these I will look at because some of these are just so stupid. So let's see, Linda Sassaville. You look ridiculous. Do you know how people are laughing at you? Do you laugh at FGM too, or little boy's your special flavor? Interesting. No, she laughed at that. She thinks FGM is funny too. She finds it funny, John. Guess she really does secretly love it after all. Vile hag she is. Noah Thorpe. Yep, exactly. Kendrick Lamar song, recent song at the Super Bowl. They are not like us. 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 These people are not like us. That is a very important point here. These people that hurt babies and children are not like us. We are normal people. Okay, intactivists, you are the standard of care. You are the basic standard of humanity. You are the base level of common sense, of decency, of ethics, of being a good person. You are the bare bones minimum, right? And then however much you put forth into this movement or other movements that you care about to make this world a better place, that's really what determines who you are as a human being in my mind. It's what you produce. It's what you do. It's your goals, your aspirations, your intentions. Not all, you can have, not everything has to come to fruition perfectly, But what it matters is that you try and you give your effort and you fight for what's right. And that's why I quit my business of 18 years and a career of 18 years to do this full time. So I can fight for the rights of humanity, to end this barbaric psychological damage to our children, this evil sickness that creates these monsters saying these things on this post. These are all damaged men, and the women that are involved with them, I don't know what the hell's going on with them, because they don't have the psychological impetus to go with this. I would just say that they're following their men in some sort of, fashion or way, but, it is what it is. Let's move on. Can you point to the funny part in these images? She thinks that's funny too. I mean, it's just really sick. Look at these gross little people crying. Harvey Mays Jr. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Gross little people, huh? Just because we don't have a belly bigger than that car in front of you. Funny. You're a really handsome guy there, you handsome devil. Talking about gross little people. Gross little people, huh? Let's look at the gross little people. Look at these gross little people crying that your fetish for babies is being exposed. Look at these gross little people crying. Some more gross little people crying. At least they won't be so gross to you now. There's that psychological damage, like literally in their face after the abuse. It's like not even a question. You look at that face and like you're a human being. You don't need some psychological degree to suss this out. This is common freaking sense. Harvey Megan Smith says, look at yourself. Will Ray, I've never met a man that cares about this. Will Ray, because you never met an actual man. Little half PP boy. Men protect babies. Men don't lust after bloody baby penises. Men have whole penises. Men are not scared of anatomical facts. Pal, sad you didn't get better role models. And he got mad at it. Let's not read all of these. I'm not going to go through every little detail. Okay, this was somebody said, I've never met a man that cares about this. That's the one. Okay. So here's some men that cared about it. We don't want to be sexually crippled. Some of us retain your balls. If you want to read through this, just stop it. Pause it. These are some men that didn't want their balls, their bodies sexually assaulted. Here's a Jewish man. Death to circumcision. Hey, guess what? Jewish boys deserve human rights too, don't we? Don't we? I'm part Jewish. Don't I deserve human rights? Because I'm Jewish, I don't? That's called Nazism. That is anti-Semitism. The Jewish religion is the most anti-Semitic religion in the world because it takes away the rights of Jewish men to their own bodies. So that is what it is. This has got to be the stupidest thing liberals have ever done, and that is saying a lot. See, now we're, just a second ago, we must have been Trumps. Now we're liberals, right? These idiots. They don't even know their ass from their elbows. It's just nonsense. I know that I had mine done. I couldn't walk for a year. This stupid joke. This is such a dumb, stupid, unoriginal joke. Child abusers are never funny, and they're never intelligent. I mean, as you can see by reading these comments, these are the lowest lows, the dregs of society, the scumbags of the earth, the child abusers who have no concerns for their abuse, the suffering their victims suffer, and the end result. And they are literally created by the victims themselves. They are victims themselves. That's what is so crazy about this. I mean, this is psychological research to the max. Like, this is how damaging childhood trauma really is. It creates these irrational, psychopathic sickos who just can't even have a rational thought or discussion. It is impossible for them to have a rational discussion. I don't try to always have rational discussions with these people. I mean, same here, the fucking funny joke. I mean, like, all these same here's. It's like, why is it that baby sexual predators all have the same stupid, unoriginal, cowardly, cucky denial jokes that are not funny? It's like they cut off the witty part of your brains at the same time they sexually crippled you for life. And you got people laughing about that. I mean, like, how's that funny? Suggest you talk to a few trim blokes and see if they think they're sexually hindered. I mean, Jeff, you don't know anything about it. You've never done a histology study. You've never done a neurology testing. You know nothing about the part that you're missing. And you suggest I talk to somebody that has the part missing. I am missing the part, you dumb fuck. I am missing the part. Or else I wouldn't care. I would go find another thing to do with my life if I wasn't a victim of this probably. I would look at these people and laugh my ass off at how stupid, unoriginal, ignorant, psychotic, evil. You know what? I would probably still fight against it. I don't know if I'd fight as vigorously because I'm trauma brain damaged, and that makes me so angry because my amygdala is larger than the average due to the trauma I suffered as a baby, which makes me more aggressive. So I am super protective, super protective. You have men that go one way or the other. My impetus was towards protecting children. Other men become the abusers. They become the psychopaths. And they have a complete inability for rational thinking and a capability to recognize their own psychosis. It's just nonsense. I'll go back through this later. Steve Finney, dude, your child sexual abuse fetish isn't funny to normal people. Rather, we prefer to recycle the carbon of child abusers. Come find out. I love that. Come find out. Josh Brooks, I just said the same thing. Dude's a fucking psycho talking like a tough guy about doctors and parents who are suddenly pedos because they had their child sexually assaulted. Duh. He's an undercover chomo, overbearing fake outreach backed with tough talk about beating us and chopping up chomos. Come try me. See, like, this is a beta male. This is a coward. Like, yeah, you really desire this so much, Ken. You are frothing at the mouth with desires. You are incensed with desires. You are so obsessed with this that you will literally come in popular places and argue to take knives to children's and rip apart children's genitalia. Just saying that. Ripping apart children's genitalia. That's what you're doing with a knife. You think that's normal? That's how brain damaged these men really are. That's how out of reality they have no ability to conceive of what's in front of their fucking faces. This is the extent of the brainwashing machine of humanity. It's unbelievably strong. Unbelievable that people will become abusers of babies, of helpless babies, and psychopathic sickos. And none of these men have ever had the balls to take me up on one of my challenges, not in an intellectual bait or a physical altercation. Not that I'm challenging men to go fight them or whatever. But if you're abusing babies and you did that in front of me, do you know what I would do to you with no shame, without any remorse, without any holding back? I've trained in MMA for 20 years. I've been doing martial arts a long time, and I'm physically strong as an ox. It would take a beast to take me down. You better know what the hell you're doing. I'm like a tennis player at the higher levels of tennis playing. If you're a tennis player at the higher levels of tennis playing, there's nobody else that plays tennis that's going to come and take you out unless they can equally beat you at tennis, right? They're equal into your level. So you literally have to be on my level to come take me out. So I am not physically threatened by any of these cowards. And every single one of them, as soon as they are challenged, they turn into these scared little babies and they tuck tail and run away. None of these cowards have ever taken me up on the offer. None of them. I will fight you in a cage. I will have my manager call your manager. I will train. I will get my weight down if we have a weight class that we have to reach. And I will train and I will beat you in front of a crowd, in front of all your friends and family. And at the end, I'm going to tell them why I beat you. That'd be great for me. What great exposure. What great reaching out to educate the community that you live in, that you live under. So this is legal. I'm talking about legal shit. And nobody's ever taken me up on this. I will fight you in a cage if you are a child abuser. Legally, and I will beat you down. I will fight you to the death. And I don't care if you beat me. I'll come back tomorrow. I'll come back the next day. I will keep coming, and I will never stop fighting for the rights of children And I don't care who you are. You could be Francis Ngannou. You could be the top of MMA. I will still fight you. Francis, you want to fight me to justify baby sexual abuse? You can knock me the fuck out in front of everybody, and I'll still stand up and I'll tell them why I took the right to get my ass beat in front of everybody. I'm Francis Ngannou, like twice my size. Top MMA fighter. Heavyweight champion of the world at once. Was taking out everybody. I don't care. What is it? I get knocked out? So what? You're abusing babies. You're cutting up babies' genitals, altering their brain development. I don't care if I get knocked out. So what? That's no big deal. I've been knocked out before. I'm a martial artist. I've knocked a lot of people out myself. You think I'm worried about it? Yeah, you're right, I'm a psycho, bro. You're right. Because it takes a psycho to beat a psycho. And I was made by a psycho by my abuse. And I turned away the opposite way, Ken. So if you want some, I open challenge you. Come get some. Find out who I am. Message me. We will meet in the ring. And I will pound you to the next floor. And you better hope that ref stops that armbar, because I will break your arm if I can. I will rip your shoulder out of its socket. I will choke you unconscious. I will take your chin. I will bust your orbital bone if I can. I will do whatever I can in those moments. Legally, where I walk away and I don't go to jail. Legally, that challenge is open for anybody. Anybody. Oh, sorry. That's another... I didn't expect to read that. But that makes me so angry. See, I'm not the kind of guy that reads that and gets intimidated. I'm the kind of guy that reads that, and then shows up at your doorstep. Anyways, sorry. I can't stand these people. Look at this. I can't with these idiots. Oh, look at this one. Okay, let's go slow. I gotta slow down a little bit. Ryan Boltz. We're at 27 minutes. We might as well make this an hour. I bet that all the grown men who had their done in adolescence or teenage years because of health issues would have preferred to have it done when they wouldn't have remembered. Okay, first off, there's probably maybe been 5 or 6 people in human history that's ever had an actual preputial amputation. The only probable cause of this, actual medical reason that this could possibly happen is phimosis induced by lichen sclerosis, which is where the tissue itself becomes crusty and hard, and phimosis is the non-retractability, and so the area can't be cleaned inside, although it still a lot of times can be dealt with without problem. There are men that live their entire lives with full-on phimosis and never have a problem, but I still think that they should fix that because they can with femocure.net. If you ever have a problem, anybody that needs their phimosis cured, go to femocure.net. But anyways, okay, so this idea that men have had this done to them, the reason this comes for and happens often in America is the fact that 43% of intact boys were force retracted by American doctors, creating a rash and epidemic of phimosis, because when you force retract babies, you break the balano prepubital lamina, which adheres the glands to the foreskin to up to an average of 10 years of age. So when you break that tissue, it actually creates a break in the skin, in the integumentary system itself, and a lot of times that skin will re-adhere itself, and it will create scar tissue over and over and over again. And boys that have suffered through this, it's excruciatingly painful. It's based off of an extreme hygiene, phobia, like, oh my God, it's going to get dirty and he's going to die. I mean, based off of, where all this idea that we are dirty literally came from religion. These are the dirty, sinful parts. They're not actually dirty. It's not like, oh, there's a smell, there's actual bacteria that you need to wash, take a shower, you're fine. No, this is, you can wash these parts all you want. You are still sinning. You are still dirty. That's where the dirtiness comes from. The idea that this is a dirty body part is just relatively new. Body shaming term is what it is. It's just an extension and perpetuation of this idea that we are sinfully dirty. And these are sinful body parts. That's what started circumcision to begin with. It was an anti-masturbation campaign. Kevin Bailey, I can't with these idiots. These people have done... an idiot is a person that has no knowledge of whatsoever and then doesn't care and doesn't search out new knowledge and doesn't really... Maybe they even have access to knowledge, they have capability, but they don't pursue that knowledge. That's an idiot. So, Kevin, you are the definition of an idiot. You are literally an idiot incarnate. And let's see what they said. You can't what? Leave children's dicks the fuck alone? Why can't you? You got that pedo bloodlust cycle caused by your trauma. Now you are a baby knife raping graper. What does it do for you, huh, tough guy? I mean, if these images doesn't make you disgusted and outraged, so this coward laughs at him, you know, that's disgusting. This is disgusting behavior. Like, these people are roaches crawling around on the floor. I mean, it's a cancer growing in a mass. It's just sick, really sick people. Parents who circumcise their son, rational persons, they're the same person. Okay, what does it say? Mentally challenged idiots who don't know jack shit about medicine, basic human sexuality, or biology, and don't give a shit about your body autonomy, the Hippocratic Oath, the Constitution, or medical ethics. He laughs at that. Those who cut the genitals of children are the stupidest people on the planet. He laughs at that. I mean, it's just dumb. These people are dumb. Those who think about what baby wieners probably need to get some therapy before that turns into something that'll get them in trouble. I mean, like, bro. See, they all get violent. They all get like this. They are paper tigers. The moment a real man steps up to their face and says, bring it, and has this energy, like my energy, they fold like fucking paper towels. They fold. They turn into quivering little masses. I tell them, look away from my face. Look at the ground. Your gaze is not worthy to look upon me. And they will do it if they were in my presence. So I see these men fold. I've challenged them on the phone. I've challenged them face to face. None of them have ever had the balls to have their manager send me their manager's name and have their manager call my manager or my manager call their manager and set it up. None of them ever have, and none of them ever will, because I know them. They're cowards. These are the cowardliest men that there possibly are on the planet, because they can't even come to terms with their own anatomy. They can't even accept their own missing anatomy. It's just so absolutely brainwashed. And to think that because we are trying to protect children from psychos who are obsessed with attacking them with knives, that we are the ones obsessed with children's genitals is crazy. Just the projection, the idiot, the stupidity of a mind to sit there and say, I want to cut children's genitals, you're the pedophile, is just unbelievable. It's just outrageous. How can you be that stupid? Like, nobody, no rational person could accept that. Fucking psycho is obsessed with kids' penises. Bag full of minds about kids' penises. Probably doesn't even have kids of his own. Fucking clown with a big mouth. Loud as a motorbike, but can't bust a grape in a fruit fight. Pork. Yeah, dude, I've fought with men in cages, bro, that would have you quaking in your boots, that you wouldn't say shit to. I've fought them in cages. You think I'm scared of you? You think I'm scared of a little man who's never stepped in a martial arts gym in his life, and if he did, would get beat up? Like, you're embarrassing yourself, bro. It'd be like you challenging a tennis player to a really good tennis player to a match. You would get handled, bro, the same way as a tennis player will whoop your ass too. So again, Kevin Bailey, Ken Elite, you guys can come on. You guys can bring it. There's nothing more sick than sinister psychos projecting their sickness on other people. This has got to be one of the top 10 dumbest protests I've ever seen. If girls were circumcised, they would be upward where I can't do this with boys. Circumcision became popular during the wars when we were fighting in tropical climates. See, this is nonsense. It was introduced to help beat several diseases caused by unsanitary human conditions that our shoulders were experiencing and saved a lot of unnecessary operations. I still think it has merit. First off, Alexander the Great, the Mongols, Persian armies, the Hitler. I mean, France with Napoleon. All of these armies have wiped out entire huge populations and taken over large empires on the face of the planet with all of their penis. They climbed mountains. They went through deserts. They went into jungles. Mammals we find almost everywhere on the planet Earth, and they all have a prepuce. They all do. The monkeys in the jungles have a prepuce. The marmots and whatever the creatures are, the rats, they all have a prepuce in the jungles. Mice have a prepuce. Your hamster has a prepuce. Your dog, your cat, the cows, the horses, your wife, your mother, your sister, they all have prepuces. They do just fine. This idea that humidity has anything to do with it or climate it's just utter nonsense. It's just utter pure cope and stupidity. These people just have no grasp of reality. That's why I'm making this video. Going to put tampons back into the men's room. Wow. I mean, it just... When you're such a coward that you don't have the balls to stand for the abuse that you suffered from, you're a coward, right? It takes a man to put on that bloodstained suit to show this is the damage that I had inside me. That wasn't my fault. That happened to me as a baby, but I'm strong enough to accept my own reality, to accept anatomical facts for what they are, to fight for the next generation so that we don't perpetuate this evil, sick crime on our children. That takes a man, buddy. And you are not that man. We are. You are not. We are. Okay, that's clear as day. Okay, I'm thankful that my wing doesn't look like it's wearing a turtleneck. Body shaming terms. I mean, how insecure do you have to be to body shame your own undamaged sex? That you were literally a violent sexual assault abuse victim. And then you turn into shaming men who were not violently sexually assaulted and abused by their own parents, who lacked fundamental ethics, rudimentary instincts, common sense, human decency, and are literally with extreme desires. They want to do this to you. Extreme, and this is okay with you. These people are stupid. Don't people work anymore? I can't remember. I don't even remember mine being done. What about forced pregnancy, red herring? Why is this a thing? The Milky Bar kid and his family have a synchronized menstruation cycle by the looks of it. I mean, you're not even funny. I'm laughing at how stupid you are. It's not even funny. Soy milk latte for the Starbucks before they shut up for this nonsense. I mean, you are the biggest coward on the planet, David. You have got to be some of the biggest cowards that have ever lived. You want to hurt children so that you don't have to admit that you were damaged. That's how much of a coward you are. Like, you were the biggest coward on the planet, and you're sitting here talking about us. You have more balls than you've ever had. You lost yours, buddy. They cut yours off with your foreskin, with your frontal lobe. And if you understand what that means, good to you. Kudos on you. Every time I think moronic people cannot find one more stupid thing to protest about something, someone proved me wrong. Christopher Sloan. I hope your kids in the future watch this video and see their parents saying these disgusting, stupid, cowardly, trivializations, denials, pure ignorance, pure cope, all to justify what could only be considered a lusty fetish. That's all. What is this? Like, have you considered asking yourself why these people act like this? Like, what does this do for them? What does this do for them? So the question is, what's the motivation? What's the primary motivation? I'm not talking about what they say the motivation is. I'm not talking about what their, cultural, religious, and whatever. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about their personal motivation. Why do they want it so badly? And I've seen this with the religious folks. I've seen this with all the medical folks and the hygiene folks and the body shaming folks. It's all the same. They are extremely obsessed with this, like to the utmost extreme of obsession you could possibly have, like Frodo with the ring, or like a rock with the crackhead. Like, these are what these people, they're like fiending for this. Now, if this is aspirin to give your child for a headache, and they say, you know what, does something wrong with the system, aspirin's no longer healthy, we're going to give something else, here, take this naproxen or Tylenol or whatever it is. Maybe it's the opposite, actually. But nobody's going to freak out about that. No one's like, oh my God, I've got to give my child this, oh my God, it's dirty, and they start ranting into this whole freaking other tirade of excuses, like psychopaths, like bloodlusty clowns, like with knives chopping in the air. That's these people. Like, this is irrational. The denial is irrational. The trivialization is irrational. These are not normal behaviors that these people are displaying, but it's ubiquitous throughout the culture. Think about that. That's crazy. This is how bad humans really are. This is why we have Holocaust memorials. This is why we have never again signs over slave master where slaves were sold. I mean, imagine that. You have a baby and someone sells your baby or sells your mother. I mean, I just read recently today that Fredless Douglass's mother was sold off from him. He met her like twice or three times. I mean, and Frederick, being a genius, became one of the biggest, abolitionists in American history. I mean, just think of the pain that mother suffered not having her child. I mean, if you have a heart as a human being, that's outrageous. And we did that as a society to a whole group of people. And everybody thought that was okay. Everybody, large numbers of people, thought that was okay. To sell a mother from her child? To rape and beat and own another person? And put them in houses and whip them and put them in chains? And sell them on blocks, steal them from their homelands, travel them across oceans? They've lost their culture. They've lost their ability to fight back. And that was normal? The fact that human beings could ever be that disgusting as a group and just perpetuate throughout history, like, damn, like, wow, humans are really sick creatures. Like, y'all, we come from a very, very violent DNA that has very little backing of actual ethics. Okay, now we all have strong instinctual ethics. Is the only way we get along in groups. We had to develop these parts of our brain that we rely on groups, that we depend on groups. That's why we love our children. We would never have such big brains if we didn't love our children, because we would have never invest so much energy into our children. It takes 18 years, 15 to 18 years to grow a human brain to the point where it can survive on its own. So that's a huge investment. That's why we have love, right? That's why we have interpersonal relationships with friends. That's why we have we are social creatures. I've heard it said that if you take away social interaction, say for instance prisoners, that putting them in isolation is actually cruel and unusual punishment. If you think about this, you're a person living in a group of extremely aggressive, violent, angry, broken men, a lot of them circumcised and mutilated as children, or suffered some other forms of abuse throughout their lifetime that caused them to become these violent people. And you're taking out of that and put in isolation. Wouldn't you rather be in isolation than with a bunch of violent criminals? And know, in fact, the actual removal from violent criminals is actually more harmful and more degrading and more sufferable than it is to actually be around violent criminals, if you think about that. That's crazy, right? These are violent criminals that could rape and kill you. But punishment is to be put in isolation, which is much, much safer. That's crazy to think about. So, anyways, let's just read through these again. They all get their periods at the same time or something. Funny. The red hand is an indigenous symbol. Uses a paint splash. Use a paint splotch instead. A rubber would have prevented this video. Yeah, a rubber would have prevented your comment. Give someone other than a crackhead to film. So some guys are truly obsessed with this. Case, how about we cut off your labia, your prepuce, your external clitoris? Do you guys know that the prepuce, the male prepuce, is 1/2 the surface area, 75% of the nerves? It contains the two most sensitive parts, the frenulum and ridge band. It is literally the equivalent of the entire female external clitoris. That's what makes FGM type 1B, the removal of the clitoris, literally the same thing as what we do to our babies. So this is literally the sensory equivalent of removing the entire female external clitoris. If you look at the structures themselves, in size, the male prepuce is still much larger tissue than the female external clitoris. So, anyways, hands off my turtleneck. Joe Quintanilla, you're probably Mexican. You probably were not violated. So yeah, I would say hands off my turtleneck too if I had one. These comments are insane. Love and support you guys. Yeah, Lily Keogh. These right. That's why I'm making this video, because these people are insane. Like this is insanity. So men can have periods, mentally unstable, just the tip of John, your scar's not on your tip, it's in the center. They literally cut off the middle half. You have quarter on one side, one quarter on the other side. That's all you have left. You're missing the middle half. It's not the tip. The scar would be on your tip if it was on the tip. These people are this dumb. Shows how private we have gotten. We are complaining about shit like this. I mean, this is common sense. Not sexually assaulting children. We are a violent, sexually assaulting, baby mutilating culture. This is the worst crime that you could possibly do to another human being, and we're doing en masse to our children. And you don't think that's justification? These people are stupid. Apparently they got their balls chopped off too, acting like that. No, you did. No, you did. I've already explained this. You have clearly lost strength. You can't keep the camera still. That's stupid. See, I mean, it's just like, why don't you pay attention to the message? Children are being hurt. That should alarm anybody. And instead of there being any pretense of alarm, there's just nothing. These are brain dead. This is the extent of brainwashing. Like, this is how powerful human brainwashing can be. It can completely wipe out all sense of ethics from an entire culture. You think what P. Diddler or Epstein did is anywhere close to the violent sexual assault of 80% of living American adult males right now? You think that comes close? I mean, they kill babies doing this. Babies are dead. Epstein didn't kill. I mean, maybe they did, because they didn't care either. I'm sure P. Diddy killed some people, but they didn't kill nearly the number of babies that we kill in America, mutilating their genitals. Nowhere close. This looks like a job for Captain Foreskin. See, it's just trivialization, from top to bottom. Is this called the tiny wiener crub? I mean, literally, you have a smaller wiener because of this. When you cut something off something else, it literally becomes smaller. I mean, the stupidity of these people. I want to thank my mom for getting me circumcised. I mean, could you imagine this being in Somalia? Of course, you're going to have all these women. Thank God I don't want that ooey clitoris. My husband would have never married me. He would have, I'd be living in a mud hut by myself, and everybody would shame me, and my whole entire tribe would think I'm disgusting and ooey with my nasty prepuce. I mean, so this is this guy right here, just our culture. He's the same as these girls that wanted their prepuce mutilated. Good grief. This guy, Jeff Gustini, is a real, I don't know, he's either a fetisher or he was so broken by his mutilation, he has become one of the top ghouls, frothing at the mouth. This is where you see he's got 122 replies. See how many of them are angry. 2 of them are angry. Oh, sorry. See, I hate this. This is... Oh, it's still all comments. I don't know why it's not showing all comments, but let's go down and see if we see anything else. Apparently they got their balls chopped off. I think I read that one a second ago. This is the absolute dumbest thing I've ever heard. Bunch of idiots. Men, doubtful at best. Yep, my cock got bigger when I got circumcised. It's just fucking stupid. I want a pair of pants like that. I'd print over the bloody hand that says, "Ladies, you're welcome." You think women want sexually crippled, damaged, scarred, cracked wee-wees? No, they don't. See if somebody said, "Thank you, that tat crap is a stop right there. I'm out of here." Louise Spottiswood. Look at this woman. I mean, just this. She looks like a normal human being, right? She wants babies to be mutilated for her sexual scar fetish. She wants us to be abused as babies. So while she's maintaining the flappiness of freaking some coral reefs on the ocean floor, she's got more flaps than a freaking, I don't know, than a Canadian truck stop. And here she is talking about thank you for us being mutilated and tortured and abused as babies. Louise Spotswood. I mean, these are really sick people. University of Alabama. Robert E. Lee High School. Wow. Really sick people. What is this weird shit? Fake be crying, geez. Fokker be crying, geez. Looks like a lot of these a lot of guys these days running around their period. John Smith. I'm a better John Smith than you. Piece of shit. Make up their own mind. Can no one make up their own mind over there or something? I mean, babies don't choose this, idiots. Maybe they should all go to medical school and find out why children are circumcised in 8 days. For UTIs, rare, trivial UTIs that most men will never have. For adult sexual transmitted diseases that no child should be in danger of, which then makes you could obviously refer to adulthood, right? You could refer to they become an adult and then decide what they want to do with their body. If they want to chop off their best parts, their parts that holds in the moisture, that reduces friction of intermission by tenfold. That means friction reduction, and also maintains moisture, keeping the moisture in, acting as a stop gasket. That literally guarantees that when you cut that part off, that maintains moisture and reduces lubrication and reduces friction, that you increase friction, you increase microtears, you decrease lubrication, increasing microtears, increasing vectors, increasing disease transmission. That's why epidemiology studies all over the world show circumcised men have higher rates of HIV and STDs, not lower. This actually increases HIV and STDs. It doesn't lower it. I just proved it to you with the simple mechanical function, which is the second primary function of the prepuce, the first being sensory, the second being mechanical and friction reducing and moisture maintaining, and the third being protection. The third's being protection when it's not even being used. These people are so stupid. I could Eugenio Gonzalez, I could embarrass the 20,000 closest doctors to you. If you were to draw a circumference around you and you were to have the 20,000 closest doctors to you, I could say this, the 20,000 closest neurologists to you, I would embarrass them. I would make them look stupid. I would make them look like psychos. I would make them look like I could make you look, because you're all psychos. Like this, there is no medical reason to circumcise babies. That's a weak, nonsensical grasp excuses that makes no sense whatsoever. Get a job, Joel Smith. The women in this video is to show why women need feminine products, or did she like looking like she was just on the rag? Well, Dina Shirts, your vagina has far more infection vectors than we do. You are an innie. We are an outie. So you have more folds, more flaps, more discharge, more bleeding. In fact, when you bleed every month, you discard the entire lining of your uterus. You discard a egg that is now dead and rotting. You discard blood and other mucus and other things. And you do that for a quarter of your living life, creating a bacterial frenzy that feed on your discharge and your period blood. And we are the disgusting ones. It's just nonsense. Everybody needs a hobby. Protecting babies from psychos with knives is the most important hobby anybody can ever do. Good grief for the stupidity of some people, and it's super gross. Yeah. Again, I just talked about body shaming. Janet Hockaday Barber. Janet Hockaday Barber supports the abuse of little babies because she thinks it's gross. She thinks we're born ewy. Janet wants to hurt babies because we are born ewy for her. We're not on her level, despite the fact that she literally bleeds and she has... I'm not body shaming women. Please don't take this as body shaming. I'm just pointing out the fact that the person that should be body shaming between the two sexes, if we were to body shame, it certainly is not the women. It really certainly is not. And we have been through bouts of body shaming of women in the past in this culture. And for good reasons, that was completely rejected. And today it's seen as idiot, stupid, and childish and immature as it is. This is potty stage level maturity. Like 2-year-old, 3-year-old, ooh, poo, 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 pee, 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 ooey, kind of stupid shit. And they justify their sexual assault of babies and their scar fetish with children, with cutting children's genitalia. As you can see, this is nothing to do with health or hygiene of the child. This has no respect for the child. These women have no respect for men. They don't care about harming us as babies. They don't care of making us suffer, making us brain damaged, making us more violent. This is an impetus for a large amount of mental dysfunction in the United States of America. And in fact, all mutilating cultures are more violent. The men are more violent. They're more aggressive towards the women. The women are abused more often in genital mutilating cultures. So women that support this, you are literally supporting your own victimization, your own abuse by damaging us. And to be honest with you, you kind of deserve it, although you're not the victim, the end victim. So you don't really deserve it because the victim that did it isn't the one that probably did it to begin with, but you're causing this for women. So if you're a women's rights activist, you better for damn sure protect male babies, because they're going to grow up and they're going to be a man who's around women. And if we're damaged mentally, we're more likely to hurt women. This is common freaking sense. The stupidity of some people. And Janet, your position is just super gross. Just the fact that you want to abuse babies is super. Let's see what these people say. Yes, the stupidity of people who mutilate their children. Good grief. Can you believe America is a pedo baby pizza type nation? Okay, that, in France, if you don't know, is the idea that certain pedos have certain lingo, and the lingo for male babies apparently is pizza. So those who like pizza, I don't know. Remember the whole Pizzagate thing? Anyways, who loves to cover up little baby boys? I mean, there are idiots. That needs to be changed. There are idiots in America who think sexually assaulting babies is normal. I know it is not you, since you would never be giddy over bloody children's genitals, right? At least you are not one of these psychopathic, evil, coward pedos, right? Okay, this is not only stupid and super gross, it is psychotic. What have I done to deserve this? What have I done to deserve this? How am I going to get through? How am I going to get through? The Chop Shop Boys. Brought to you by popular parental request. Boys deserve better. If this image doesn't turn your stomach and make you outraged and want to protect these children from their abusers, you are not worthy of a future, in my opinion. You don't deserve to breathe the air that I breathe. You are degrading the air that I breathe. And every other adult has the right, the justification, and in fact the duty to stop you by whatever means necessary. And I hope that means non-violently, because violent actions against these people will only make them more entrenched. So we have to be smart, we have to be wise, and we have to take them down at their own game. And that's what we're doing. Anyways, how boring is your life if this is what you're doing? David Kruger. Yeah, I think this is the most important thing I've ever done in my life. I'm so proud of the fact that I quit an 18-year career, a very successful 18-year career. I was making really good money at the end of my career, and I quit it, and I moved to California, and I started doing activism full-time. And I will never regret that change in my life. This is the most important thing I've ever done. This is the most important thing I will ever do. So yeah, David, this is the most fulfilling thing I've ever done in my life. And not ashamed of it. And one drop or iota, no matter how much you shame me, no matter how much you try to attack me or say things to me or trivialize what I'm doing or call me a pedo or project your sickness upon me, I will never fighting against you evil sickos. Just when I thought squatted trucks were the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Fucking wow, our society needs eliminated, and I would stop to see if it I wouldn't stop it if I could see it happening. This is like the epitome of a brain damaged man that was so damaged by his mutilation that he is not a normal, rational human being anymore. I mean, he wants society to end because we are against mutilating babies. Wow. It should be the other way around there, James Lanham. You're definitely not a ham. DOC Yassal, adult males who are against circumcision must be uncut. Why? To justify their fear, embarrassment of having the tip of their penis cut. Having the tip of their penis cut. Yeah, I think they're trying to say that we have to some way cut our penises if our parents weren't violent abusers of us, and we have to then suffer this. I mean, it's just so sad and pathetic. You know, like this person probably took biology at some time in their school. I mean, you have to go through some of it to get out of high school, so you would think that the natural selection would be something that they were taught. Natural selection would show that there's no reason that our bodies are damaging to themselves, or that our bodies would naturally reduce our ability to reproduce themselves, and that any inherent design flaws in our reproductive system, which would be immediately eliminated by natural selection, and has been. And the fact that we've had a prepuce for 220 million years of mammalian evolution, it's found in 5,488 mammal species. That means every mammal species, and it's never been removed from mammal species through evolution in an entire history of mammalian evolution, shows that this is not a damaged body part that we somehow have to remove. That this is it's an ancient slave marking. The Egyptians used to mark their slaves with it. That was used as a punishment and a marking as an inferior status, so that if you did escape as a slave, you could pull your pants down and say, oh, no, you're still a slave. And that their slaves couldn't escape. It was a slave marking. And some Jewish men, some weak-minded, cowardly Jewish men, just like this expression you've seen with all these cowardly men on here, these broken beta males who can't come to terms with their own missing anatomy, because no man would rationally want to be missing the most pleasurable part of his penis because some body-shaming bimbo from a trailer park, no man would want that. So this is just pure cope. So what happened is these Egyptian slaves made a cultural blood ritual out of it, turned it into a religion, turned it into a cult, a child abuse cult, a Middle Eastern child abuse cult, made all kinds of claims that it has the morality of the world and Jesus, all this other stuff. And that's how they perpetuated this mutilation till today. And the United States of America, Christianity was spawned from Judaism, which was literally the religion of these people that was spawned from these Egyptian slaves, former slaves, weak-minded men at that. You know, they couldn't accept their own reality. The fox with no tail. This is literally the world's largest fox with no tail story ever in human history. And it became the largest medical fraud in human history. And this has no justification or rationality based in science whatsoever. This was a masturbation punishment in the 1870s. It turned into a masturbation and punishment because people couldn't understand why people were getting, these doctors at the time, they couldn't understand why people were getting sick, why they were getting tuberculosis, why we had suffering and pain, why we had children born with cleft palate or clubfoot or all these other, harmful conditions. And the only thing they could think is they can't see these little small creatures called microbes. They didn't have the microscopes back then to see these, so they blamed it on sinning. They thought it was sinful. Therein goes the whole idea that this is dirty tissue because we are dirty, inherently dirty. This is a sinning part. If you cut off the sinning part, the child will not get these diseases that is caused by the sinning. So that's what started American mutilation. None of these are rational, scientific-based, medical procedures. There's never been medical studies to prove that these has any benefits whatsoever besides pseudoscience studies that literally were designed to create the outcome that you could pull apart with peer-reviewed, questions, and most of them were highly flawed. Most of them were highly contentious and needed excuses that this reduces UTIs. They were causing UTIs by force retracting the babies. As I mentioned, 43% of babies, intact babies in America, were force retracted, causing this rash of phimosis, balanitis, and UTIs. When you're pulling the skin back of the kid's genital tissue, you create an area for bacteria to grow. Those bacteria will grow in that broken skin tissue because the integumentary system has been broken. And this is why the body tries to adhere the skin back to itself, which creates skin bridges and phimosis, as we mentioned earlier. So they're causing this by breaking the balloon prepubital lamina, tearing it back, and introducing the bacteria, which then led to the UTIs. So the only increase in UTIs that we see with circumcised men is due to force retracting babies in America by doctors who don't know the anatomy, the natural anatomy, development, structure, and function of the male genitalia. We literally have an overabundance of quacktards in the United States of America. I call them ductors. They're ductors, they're not doctors, because they do not even know the fundamental human anatomy, basic human anatomy. It's like not knowing what your humerus bone or what your radial artery is, or what your aortic valve is. I took all their anatomy classes. I took their anatomy physiology 101 and 102. You know what I didn't learn? Anything about the human prepuce. They didn't teach me in class. It wasn't in the book. They had a picture of a circumcised man in the book. The only thing that doctors are learning is how to cut it off and how to deny their instincts through massive brainwashing that turns doctors into sicko pedophiles with knives, attacking and fretting and exceptionally obsessed with cutting the little children's genitals, just like the broken men who also want this extremely compulsed and obsessed with continuing this violent abuse against children. Good Lord, Cindy Chote, get a life, says Thomas Mansur. Talked to a leader of this movement, very passionate, pro-abortion, by the way. When asked about abortion being butchery, she lost her shit cleanly. These people have issues. Pelt them with garbage. We talked about that, the abortion red herring already. Andrew, stick with the topic and just come try to violently attack us. Do it. None of you will. You're all cowards. You only attack babies. You're only tough enough when it's babies. I've talked with thousands of you. I've done this for 12 years. I've met every type of different sicko abuser on the planet with my activism. And believe me, none of you have the balls to actually bring this to somebody's face, because you're only tough enough when it's babies. You're only badass when it's babies, Andrew. Bill Haynes sounds gay. Wouldn't touching children's penises, your obsession with cutting babies' penises, if you're a man, wouldn't that be considered a same-sex attraction? You're attracted to cutting babies' genitals. You're attracted to a penis. That makes you gay. And not only gay, it makes you a pedophile, because you want to do this to children. You don't care. You're not going to do this to me. Bill Hines, come over here and do it. Try it on me. Come try it over here. I'm in Tucson, Arizona. Come to Tucson, Arizona. Come try it. Call my manager. I'll call your manager. We'll get that set up. I'll get paid. We can meet in the cage. And we can find out who will fight for children's rights. Because I know what I'm fighting for. Anyways, I'm not going to keep harping on this. Sorry. I am ranting sometimes in here. I apologize. It's just my nature. I'm getting a kick out of the guy with the hand on his crotch. He just got a handy from his menstruating women. What the fuck? Zitzians? Who has the time? Did they ask anyone or just making the assumption? Where's the water cannon when you need one? Yeah, see, these people are violent. They are violent, and this is a result of their brain damage. Water cannons. They're talking about throwing stuff at us. I've had guys saying he's going to come up and slap us or punch us. I thought liberals stood with the Muslims, but now they're making fun of them. Claim that this has something to do with political parties. Cut it out, LOL. Yeah, cut out whatever part of your brain makes you lust after children's genitals, David Halford. Cut out that part. You're so brain damaged. Look at this guy. Probably think he's a normal guy. Probably meet this guy in the streets. Oh, he's cool. He's neat. He likes outdoors. He's, plumber, whatever he is. Probably normal, average, everyday guy who wants to cut little babies' genitals. Think about that. An average, everyday, normal guy, normal American guy who wants to cut babies' genitals. And when you tell him not to, he will use every excuse in the book. He will get outraged. He will punch you. He will throw things at you. He will shoot water cannons at you. If you dare challenge his right, his festering fetish, his obsession, his frothing at the mouth desires to cut children's genitalia. This guy, David Halford. You see him on the street, you think he's normal. You think, right? Robert Miles, you need to get a life and actually see what's happening around them. I suppose you can concentrate on stupid, consequential crap. It makes other stuff go away. Violently sexually assaulting babies is the reason why we have a huge prison population, why we have serial killers, why we have school shooters, an abundance of which is never seen anywhere else in the earth, even in the Middle East. And the reason why the Middle East is because their violence is so institutionalized in their culture. It's literally part of the violence. So men get to abuse their wives. They get to take child brides. They get to do all this stuff. They get to cut little girls' genitals. They are also very violent themselves when it comes to politics. And there's a lot of violence in the Middle East, and there's a lot of violence in America. You know where there's not a lot of violence of when it comes to this stuff? Europe, in small little towns in places like South America and China. And I'm not talking about the bigger organizations, but I'm talking about the smaller organizations. They have very little violence and aggression. They have very little rape. They have very little domestic abuse. They have very little. They have higher rates of a child growing up with two parents in the household. So they're literally better on every single metric, like every metric there is. Yanks cut it off and don't even get some of the money it's sold for. That's how stupid we are. If a lot of you don't know, the South has a much less attachment to circumcision for some reason. I think because a lot of especially Southern blacks, they didn't circumcise because, lucky for them, they couldn't afford it, because you have to pay doctors to do these evil things to your child. So the Southern blacks didn't do this. So a lot of them, the men, are intact. So I don't know if that's what they're talking about. Lucky for them if you are one of those guys. Sometimes it's not beneficial to be in the upper echelons of society. I'll give you an example. White bread, okay? To remove the bran from the germ of the wheat bran, you had to go through a process. That extra step cost energy and input. Therefore, it cost money. So originally, only rich people could afford the white bread. Well, the white bread is devoid of any nutrition that the rest of the whole grain has inside it. So this made the people that bought the white bread's children dumber and with lower IQs than the people who ate the whole grain. You can't make this stuff up. Anyways, they have nothing better to do. Nothing better in my life. No, not whatsoever. Harrison Ames, not even close. Is there anything I could possibly do with my life than go after this sick child abuse that creates damaged men, as you are displaying? Everybody that is reading this, these are actual psychological symptoms of the trauma these men have suffered. This is look at how ubiquitous this is throughout this. I mean, they think this is normal, that they're all in denial, that they all can't handle anatomical facts, that they all want to abuse babies sexually, and that they're obsessed with this. Like they are literally like a crackhead, and if you try to take their crack, they will attack you. That's these people. Like, this is beyond all rationality, completely outside of normal human behavior. Nah, thank God for it. Would have been disgusted with the alternative version. Hulan Hendricks, you're so insecure that you couldn't handle being a natural, normal man. That's how insecure you are. And he thinks this is tough. Like, he thinks this makes him a tough guy. He's like, yeah, I'm the man. Got the beard, got the big old belly, got the dad bod. I'm the tough guy. In his little world, he's the tough guy. Where were the men? Clint, James. It takes a real man to be a partial man who then fights for little babies to be real whole men in the future. So you weren't there, obviously, but we were. Not me, but they were. Bunch of women on their period. I mean, this all the same. Like they're never my child, my decision, stay in your own lane. Same cameraman as the Blair Witch Project. I mean, just attacking, belittling, making trivial comments, making stupid comments. Just reveling in their ignorance. This is like a bunch of like low IQ Ewoks just like dancing around the fire, giddy in their stupidity. It's mind-boggling. Someone please check the mental ward. I think a few escaped. Yeah, you escaped from the mental ward. Now you want to hurt children, and we need to put you back. Someone plays outside an abortion clinic. Okay. Wait until you're older and have an infection and have it done then. Seen an old guy go through this. He walked funny for a month and in pain. So the old guy probably had improper care workers who weren't able to clean him. If you don't clean yourself, if you don't clean your armpits, eventually your armpits are going to stink, and eventually you're going to get an infection in your armpits, or your butt crack, or your feet. And to sit there and say we need to cut off your feet, we need to cut off your armpits, we need to cut off your butt crack, it's just that's the level of intelligence that these people are talking about. Victor Rodzawicz, that man did not have to have his best part removed. He just needed hygiene. He needed to be treated for his infections. He needed to be taught proper hygiene and needed to be released and let his stuff heal, and then he would still have his whole body. He never went through a month of unnecessarily grueling pain, which, by the way, so these cowards will admit that this is extremely excruciatingly painful, and we got to do it to babies because grown men suffer greatly if we do it to grown men. And, this extreme suffering of grown men, we got to force on a little baby because this grown-ass man who wants this weird thing done to him because he was body shamed by bimbos doesn't want to suffer from what he doesn't even need to do to himself that he's doing because he was body shamed by his culture. I mean, just get a grip on yourself, people. If we didn't want your babies to be mutilated, there would be no need to mutilate them. There wouldn't be these men that have these problems, and our healthcare workers would have to learn how to take care of them, just like they do the women, just like Europeans do, just like everywhere else in the world that doesn't cut off buttholes and armpits for infections and hygiene. It's just so stupid. What are the women doing there? Women are mothers. They actually have to deal with the part when we're mutilated. So the part that was supposed to help make the sexual intercourse reduce the friction, reduce the pain, reduce the intensity of the friction is not there, and they're suffering from painful sex. The men dry them out. They run out of lube, and I don't know unless you're buying like silicone lube, that junk you're using cakes up, and then 10 minutes after you apply it, now you're not gliding again. And unless your woman has, if you go over 30 minutes or 45 minutes, unless your woman has an abundance of moisture, she dries out because you're pulling out, and that moisture gasket's not there. Every time a male pulls out, that moisture is drying. So less moisture goes back in, and he pulls more out and pulls more out and pulls more out, pulls more out. Now she's suffering painful intercourse. And guess what that increases? Vectors for disease transmission. As a circumcised man, I've gone through this numerous millions, hundreds, thousands of times in my life. At a 48-year-old man, I've experienced this numerous times where they dry out because not all women just produce an abundance of moisture. Anyways, are these guys nuts? Only in America. It's optional. No one in America is forced to circumcise their children. I mean, no man alive would choose there's never been a baby on earth that chose to be abused. Like, you think a baby wants this? You stupid, ignorant, low IQ people. I mean, this is so dumb. Way too funny. How intelligent can you be? This Marty Lynn, bro, I have a bigger brain. I have more brains in my fingertips than you have in your entire brain, entire head. I mean, just the stupidity of these people. Like, what study have you done? Do you know the anatomy? Do you know the histology? Have you read Taylor, Colden, Lockwood? Have you read anything on this? Do you know what started this? Do you know the medical excuses? Have you researched the literature? Have you understood the psychological damage? Nothing. You do nothing. You've done nothing. And you call us stupid, which is literally stupid. You are the definition of non-intelligent. Circumcision shortens, you remember? All this because the left can't stop thinking about little boys. Circumcision, keeping priests and rabbis and chewing gum for years. Come, ha ha ha. Frank Yurkowski, another stupid, childish, immature, trivializing joke about sexually assaulting and abusing babies. It's unbelievable. Mental illness is rampant in our country. Yes, Denise, and you are an example of that mental illness. This company has gone bonkers. They need a pill for this ridiculousness. Yes, Steve. Pinkham, you are absolutely ridiculous, and you are Looney Tunes psychopathic psycho who wants to mutilate children's genitals, and you need to be stopped. You have completely gone off your rockers, Steve. You are nowhere close to any sort of rational human being. You are giddy with bloodlust for babies' genitalia, and it makes no sense. It's biblical. It's not. Jesus died on the cross so to fulfill the sins. Absolutely pathetic. What is pathetic is your position, Daniel Nelson. You're pathetic. You're a pathetic human being because you are trivializing extreme abuse. Why are circumcised men acting so threatened by this? Because, Pat, you smart one, because we were so damaged that we have to perpetuate the cycle on our children, that they become almost like giddy pedophiles, crackheads going for some crack. I mean, it's just unbelievable how obsessed these people are. Unreal, you people have truly lost your minds. I see this grown man saying, I'm going to put on pants and I want you to touch my pee-pee. I mean, just the projection here, Scott Ivy. Scott, you are, you're the one that wants to touch children's pee-pees. We are saying don't touch them. You want to touch them with knives. The difference between us is that you are the one that you are claiming that we are. You are actually that person. What the fuck is wrong with these idiots? Find Jesus and have a life. I mean, Jesus, Diana Nist Salisbury, Jesus died on the cross to fulfill the covenant. You have literally disrespected Jesus. You just spat in his face. You told him that his sacrifice wasn't enough and that the original covenant is necessary. So you are not a Christian. You don't know anything about Jesus, and you have not invited Jesus into your heart. And according to your Bible, you will suffer in hell for eternity unless you completely repent for this denial of Jesus. According to Jesus, if you deny Jesus on earth, he will deny you to the Father. And you just Judased Jesus. Diane, let's see what somebody said here. Your outrageous desires to idiotically okay, I don't know how that got there. But they all brought their sleeping bags. Be like all the other mother fruitcakes, just cut it off completely. My body, my choice. Well, right. All I see is a bunch of dudes who are obsessed with other dudes' cocks. A bunch of dudes. You're not attacking babies. You're not attacking dudes' genitals, dude. You're not cutting grown men. You're cutting babies. We care about babies. If you were to cut off their pinky fingers, we would attack you the same. If you were to cut off their nose, we would still attack you the same. You are just cutting off a sexual organ because you are a pervert and you are attracted to seeing babies sexually mutilated. It's the only excuse that why you fret so hard with your bloodlust. This is an absolute piranha fest of pedos waiting for the baby to drop into the water so they can tear at its flesh. This is what we're experiencing. I mean, this is a gargle of piranhas in the water, just waiting for the baby's dick to just appear into the water so they can cut it off. These are really, 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 really sick people. That's why I'm keeping this video going. I just want you people to see this. It's just sick, really sick. A whole lot of pedophiles thinking about babies' penises. I mean, the projection. This is the most projection you've ever seen. You look like idiots. The idiots are people who let grown men cut their babies' penises because God told him some book in a story. He cut himself in a book 2,000 years ago. I'd say that's idiotic, but that's me. Yeah, Rick Lott, you are 100% winner. There is no cutting involved. We decided to do it based off our own research. What? Okay, she's probably talking about the Plastibell. You still have to make the dorsal slit, you stupid... I'm not going to say that. Finish that sentence. You still have to make the dorsal slit, which is excruciatingly painful, and the ring is excruciatingly painful the whole time it's there cutting into the tissue. As a person who's went through a type of repair that involved something similar, I can tell you it is extremely painful. And plastibell mutilations are some of the most brutal, extensive mutilations, and one of the most common ones that take the most tissue, because it's really easy to take too much tissue with the plastibell. It's an absolute brutal mutilation, and there's absolutely cutting involved. And you still have to rip the balano prepubital from the glands. You still have to create the dorsal slit in order to put the bow around and then tie this thing around. It's absolutely disgusting. I mean, to think that this is some sort of sanitized version of sexual assault and mutilation is just nonsense. It's just another extremely sick, disgusting, evil abuse of a child, and just as painful and psychopathic as any other type of cutting. You let the band itself slowly break into the child's tissue and slowly cut through that child's tissue, and it sits there hanging off their dick the whole time, and sometimes it dangles there for like a few days. It's absolutely barbaric. You look like a defender of child sexual abuse and torture. Did you pay someone to do that to your son? There's a video you want to watch. It's neither of those things. People like you are just crazy and like to have something to protest. I equally protest abortion, engineered wars, which is all of them, forced masking of children, sexual transitioning, especially of minors, and general mutilation of children. Basically everything evil and the massive called good. I mean, I really, some of these things I really think are important. The whole idea that this anti-trans movement is somehow important is just absolutely nonsense. These people don't care about trans people. I'm not going to go into trans rights, but trans people have nothing to do with this. So, anyways. By the way, I'm against any sort of cutting or cosmetic surgery done to children. Until you're 18, hands off. If you're 18, you can do whatever the fuck you want with your body. You can circumcise yourself. You can cut it off completely. You can make it a nuevo vagina. I don't care. You're an adult. Leave children out of it. Just leave children out of it. Okay? It's that simple. When you become a legal adult, you can make legal cosmetic surgeries for your own self. That's just common sense. Bunch of pathetic losers with no lives. This is about the dumbest protest ever. Stop circumcision, but I'll bet abortion, her body, your choice. Okay, this is funny. They look like they need some tampons. This is a joke. I mean, just comment after comment. You always wondered what happened to the slow kids. I mean, good grief, tards will make up any cause. They take, I mean, just the abundance of evil sickos. These ain't men, they bitches, bro. You are, I guess I should stop putting my input in here. I guess the people listening to this by now, you already have your own opinions. This is an hour and 27 minutes, almost a damn movie. I'm done with this, but just the sickness of these people, just the absolute, this is just sick. I mean, just immature babies have no life. I mean, just it keeps going and going and going. Getting the idiot squisher. Trump's not circumcised. No end to that prick. I mean, just the who is paying these wackos? People will protest anything. This is, I mean, just fuck is wrong with you? This is the brainwashing. Do I need to show you guys any more? It just goes on and on and on and on and on. Idiot after idiot, psycho after psycho, pedo after pedo, baby abuser after baby abuser, just frothing with desires, the sickness of these really stupid, brainwashed people. I mean, unbelievable. Look at just these people, these sickos. I'm sorry that you have to see this. This is very disheartening to any rational person. But again, it's important that people really look at what this abundance of just sicko people we have in our society. It's beyond just person after person after person after person after person. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So much so that it went to the other post. All right, I'll leave you guys alone. Thanks for listening to this long.